today I'll be focusing on how we can generate the value, specifically value with generative AI, and in telecom sectors, specifically, and covering the media sector as well. Okay, so I'll be not jumping into what exactly is generative AI because people have already explained and talked a lot about what exactly generative AI, how it works. So I will skim through that, and I'll be more focusing on telecom sector. What are the use cases? What are the benefits? And what are the challenges? Okay, so we get the value out of that. Okay, hope you can see my screen. It's visible to everyone.
Yes, sir, it's visible, completely visible.
Okay, perfect. So to talk about the generative AI, or the way the world is evolving, okay, and uh, we can see that it's the most powerful tool, okay, or it's the most powerful, I would take, initiative which is ever being created to generate the things, to create something more, more using the early, I would say. When I talk about, I like 5-6 years back, we were talking about some conventional AI or conventional machine learning, even conventional advanced analytics. And we are using simple methods when it comes to the telecom industry, like having next best offers to the product, dynamic pricing, and optimizing the network when it comes to telecom sector. But when it comes to generative AI, it comes with a lot of powerful, innovative things which actually help us to resolve a lot of challenges, as well as bring a lot of challenges within as well, which I'll talk later on. I'll skip this slide because we already talked about what exactly is artificial intelligence, what's generative. I'll not jump into that because everybody knows that. And I'll simply jump into what exactly is telecom doing nowadays. So I just took these stats from GSMA. 74% of telecom industry, because when we talk about telecom industry, we are very adaptive in terms of technology, okay, and we are far ahead when it comes to 5G, specifically 6G, because we are more like a funnel between everything. We are connecting everything in the world, okay. So 74% of the telecom sector is adapting it, okay, though there are a lot of challenges when it comes to commercialization, or specifically when it comes to the productionization of the use cases. I was just listening to one of the guys who's talking about the data strategy. I 100% agree. One of the key challenges to have a robust data strategy and data governance principle in place to have the clean data. Otherwise, it will be it will be a fake news. Okay, it's nothing more than that. So if I simply jump into the landscape of generative AI, so we can see it can disrupt everything. Okay, text when it comes to a lot of use cases like marketing, sales, sport, general writing. Okay, when it comes to code, specifically, I'm from the technology background. You can do a lot when it comes to the code nowadays. I'm personally working on some metadata and data cataloging use cases where we are using generative AI to help us to solve a lot of challenges when it comes to the challenges to find the data, find the correct data, and to map the data with less time. Okay. And when it comes to images, speech, video, 3D, and other use cases, I'll especially jump into what we are doing nowadays, what are the challenges, and what are the use cases that can generate, and that we are working on potential use cases in telecom. When it comes to the telecom, our big area is, of course, network. Okay. Nowadays, we are working on a lot of network use cases where we are using our GPU technology to build and use generative AI. Though one of the biggest challenge which we are facing is, of course, hardware. When it comes to generative AI, we need a lot of GPUs. Okay, one of the key challenges is supply chain. Nowadays, we all are aware of that. The other challenge is responsible when it comes to network, and you want to build some use case of monitoring or optimizing your network operation, especially the SNS things. You need to be very much sure about that, because something, if it's the people who are working directly on the monitoring system on the NOC sites are not aware about these technologies. They are more like experts in their domain areas, but actually we are figuring out how we can use both conventional AI and the generative AI, and more like a hybrid model till it get much more stable, until it get much more accurate, that which brings up. Other than that, we are working on a couple of use cases with revenue assurance, specifically revenue leakages when it comes to telecom. Okay, we are working with approximately, if you say, 30 million consumer base. Okay, there are a lot of revenue leakages or fraud mitigations where we need to work on these use cases. So we are currently working on building the strong use cases, and we're working on PLCs. But of course, I talked about already, and I'll talk in detail about how we are struggling with productionization of these use cases. One One of the other area which we are currently working, or the telecom sector is working, is in sales and marketing. Okay, we already have a very strong sales and marketing, and we are using conventional AI where we have a lot of things like next best offer, or you can say the predictions based offer, and building the customer personas, using that personas to target the customers and to reduce the churn, to have the upsell and cross sell and all the other things in terms of sales and marketing. But we are optimizing, we are working on specifically the content generation when it's using generative AI. We are identifying actually the use cases of intelligent CRM systems. Specifically, we are working on smart data centers. Okay, because nowadays data centers, one of the key challenge with the telecom industry is that the OpEx is getting increased. So we are working how generative AI can help us in optimizing specifically our CRM systems and other data center cost as well, to build a smart data center that should be run by AI, and that can help us to optimize the machines, and that can help in more like proactive way rather than reactive way. Cybersecurity is a key challenge. I will link it in the down the slides with the responsible AI and AI ethics part as well. Customer experience is one of the things where we are using generative AI to identify the areas where we are lacking specifically when it building the customer indexes, and CI is for digital customer indexes, because telecom is not only the telecom industry, it's purely a digital hub as well, because we own a petabytes of data. Even our data lakes are more than 10 to 15 petabytes, and we have approximately 100 terabytes a day delta of data daily. Okay, so it's one of the key challenge which I already talked about is to have a robust data strategy, to have a robust data architecture, to have a robust data governance principle in place, so we do not have because a lot of time our data engineers or AI engineers are suffering to clean the data, to make it more curated form, to make it more clean, and to actually build it in a form that it's turned into features which can be utilized across the enterprise. Okay, we are working on a couple of use cases like improving the client services, especially the call center. We already deployed a couple of use cases using LLM for our bots, where we actually improve the customer experience by having some emotional, I would say, introduction. Using the LLM, we introduced some emotional factors when bot is talking to the customer, that actually help us to increase the customer experience as well as customer interaction when it comes to the bot-based complaint centers. And we are working on some optimized based AI-based billing, as well as it is linked with the same use case of which I was talking about dynamic pricing. When I talk in a bigger picture, so the key areas which we are targeting is enhancing the customer experience, because actually one of the key challenges to reduce the churn, to increase the customer base, to actually increase, it's actually driven by how we can increase our customer experience overall, not only when it comes to our I would say wireless services, IPTV services, and all the other digital services which usually telecoms are providing. One of the other area which we are working with some HR team and HR analytics to boost the employee productivity as well. And we are working on to have one of the key challenge which we faced like in the early 2023 was the employee churn. Okay, employees were leaving. Okay, and the new employees, it was very hard for new employees to actually get the knowledge transfer, because it's not like a 2 months notice period and then the new employee will be trained. So we're working on to have an in-house, more like a digital twin of our employee. It's more like a platform that will help the new employee to actually cope with the challenges of knowledge transfer. Okay, we are working on some content generation with the marketing team, and we are utilizing, actually, I'm from the technology background, so I'm part of that committee where we are building one of the biggest Middle East AI lab that will help and enable our ecosystem as well as our scientists to create and do this, as well as to reduce and to cope with the challenge of productionization. Okay, of course, we are working on a couple of the challenges, couple of the areas, specifically the business operations and the business process optimization as well. I just took it from GSMA, okay, to tell you how exactly overall in the world telecom sector is working and using generative AI. I already told that telecom sector has a lot of investment in technology, and it's purely a technology sector as well. Okay, and it's a digital technology sector. So you can see from this slide that 74% of telecoms are actually working and commercially deploying the trial basis of Gen AI solution. Even when I talk about myself, we have deployed approximately 8 to 10 use cases which are currently working. So we are actually working on both hybrid model, like we are to optimize and to reduce the risk. We are working using the conventional AI and generative AI in parallel to be very much sure about the result because it's linked with the consumer base. Okay. And one of the key challenges which we are facing nowadays is productionization, data strategy, and data, especially the data quality things as well, and maturity. Other than that, some of the other challenges is of course the skill set, because it's a very rare skill set, and the all piece we need to actually align with them as well. With the conventional way of deployments, it will not work. Okay, this is one of the challenge. So we are actually training our internal employees. We are working to how we can actually enhance the existing employees, as well as how we can bring the new people into that area, and not even in the sector of the specifically technology sector, but of course we are bringing the awareness around the business sector as well. So adaptation in generative AI when it comes to telecom sector, it's quite challenging. To be very fair, when we started in early, I would say mid of 2022, okay, we were working on that sector specifically, not the conversational AI, not specifically generative AI for GPT, but we are trying to figure out how we can use the AI in all the sectors, specifically marketing, customer service, network, and IT. Okay, one of the key challenge which we faced was awareness, skill set, and people were not able to trust these results. Okay, this is nowadays even one of the biggest challenge when I go to the business. They're not able to trust the results. They say that this is not accurate, or they challenge the result in some different ways. Okay, because their experience as well, we need to understand. And of course we have a lot of regulatories in place as well. Even a lot of things regulatories are coming as well, where we need to make sure that our product is responsible, ethical, it's not biased, and it's producing something which is actually helping, not disrupting. Okay, and it's aligned with the company strategy as well. Okay, we built a small pilot for marketing, and we were just running it internally, and we figure out that it's not even it will, rather than enhance the customer experience, it will disrupt. Okay, and this is something where even we were sure about our model, and we didn't figure out. Okay, so these type of things which we are in the, I would say, our internal research lab, we are figuring it out how we can make it more ethical, and we are much more sure about its I would say responsibility into the society, as well as it doesn't disrupt the current I would say enterprise goals or the business goals of the company as well. I'll talk about these generative AI use cases in telecom. We already are good in personalization of the customer base using conventional AI, but we are thinking out of the box, so how we can engage the customer on some other means, like we are working on some content generation recently. We using some LLMs, we figured it out that some of the customer which were reviewing the offer were not able to uptake it, and actually our model helped us to know, because of some misalignment of the text, and that was in Arabic. Customer not impressed with the not able to understand even what exactly we are selling it to him. Okay, so it's a lot of things which are the generative AI is helping us in this way. We're working on internal technical support, and specifically we have approximately 300K people on different sites across the kingdom. I'm in Saudi Arabia, so we are actually optimizing their work, and specifically when it comes to the maintenance sites, and specifically when it comes to the remote maintenance sites. Okay, we already deployed virtual assistant, and I told you we are running it with both hybrid way currently, because we are under some regulatory principle as well. Till we get go ahead from the regulatory, we cannot make it purely on the Gen AI side. On the billing side, we are specifically linking the billing side with the customer personas, as well as the way we can actually enhance to make the bills much more smart and much more easy to be like understanding by customers, as well as it should be more like in a visual way. Nowadays, we are sending the visual bills to the customers as well, and it's being generated by our internal, I would say, use products. Fraud detection, I already talked about, especially the revenue assurance, leakages, revenue leakages internal to the systems as well from external factors as well. We are working on both how we can actually help to create the awareness among the consumers about the fraud detection, as well as internal, how we can optimize the internal system to reduce this impact as well. Of course, we are currently using conventional AI. We haven't productionized it. There are a lot of challenges. We are working on that. EU on one of the key challenges is the integrations and productionization, of course. Benefits, I'll talk about that. We are getting a lot of benefits and we are far ahead when it comes to generative AI. And we have a very big investment this year, even the coming years till 2025. We have a clear roadmap. But of course, with the challenges, with a lot of if and buts, with a lot of things which we are, because new is disrupting and changing day by day. And of course, when it comes to telecom, we cannot choose like OpenAI APIs or something from external. It's purely customer data. We have to comply with GDPR. We have to comply with NTMO. We have to comply with a lot of things. It's purely consumer data. We cannot even think about that. And it's purely on-prem. And it's another challenge as well. Okay, we are limited to the services as well. So we are coping with the challenge. We are building our own product. We are working on our own integrations as well. I'll complete with the business benefit and value, and then I'll summarize the challenges. Okay, some of the business benefit which we have achieved till now, on which we have deployed the use cases, is we have optimized our decision making specifically. Okay, internally, like I talk about some of the smart catalog, we are working on that. We have done the POC. We are working on to expand it at a scale of enterprise. Fraud detection, we are working thoroughly, specifically the external awareness using GenAI. Okay, acquisition, we already deployed a couple of use cases for acquiring the new customers. We're working on with the marketing team on upsell and upsell to the user simulations. We're working on retention, especially reducing the churn. Okay, because we are a digital company, we are working with a lot of external entities where we can actually help them to use our analytics as a service or AI as a service, which I will link here as well, because we already deployed a lot of in terms of infrastructure platform. We are working on some AI monetization use cases where we can help the MOI, we can help the smart city, even the health sector, because when it comes to telecom knows everything about the customer, and it's very much well aware what exactly you do when it comes to your network specifically and devices you are connected. So that's all. I have a strong experience in data and AI, and I've been working in Europe, Southeast Asia already. You can connect me on LinkedIn. You can drop me an email if you want anything to be connected. I'm looking for a lot of things, new ideas, and we are working. We have a long investment plans as well, and we are very committed to our roadmap. Thank you, everybody.